Okay, now we talk about what is sense against what is nonsense. We'll all agree that cohesion in your thought process, this is fundamental to what we call sense. What is cohesion? Cohesion refers to things working together like they're one. It refers to glue, like things are glued together. So when your thoughts make sense, that's when there's cohesion in your thoughts. Now, the way I measure cohesion, I've been through, how do you put it? I've had bouts of depression and other mental disturbances, psychological disturbances. So I know the difference between cohesion and non-cohesion in your thought processes. I know when I'm not well, when there's non-cohesion in my thought processes. So when there's cohesion, that's when I know I'm well. To define cohesion, you have to look at three components and non-cohesion as well. There's intuition, what you intuitively can see to be right. There's wisdom and there's intelligence. Now, when somebody tells you that when you jump up on Earth, yeah, within the Earth's atmosphere, you fall right back down. Yeah, intuitively, you can say, all right then, you jump up, you fall down. You say, yeah, that's correct. So somebody uses his intelligence or wisdom and tells you, you jump up, you fall down. And intuitively, you can see it and you know it makes sense. So there's cohesion. When you believe that, there is cohesion. Yeah. Now, if somebody tells you that if you jump, you float when you're on Earth, yeah, within the Earth's atmosphere, um, somebody can design an equation to show you that that's true, but you can't see that intuitively. Yeah, and your wisdom tells you that if you can't see it intuitively, you be cautious in believing in it. You be dumb to believe in it. So if you believe in something that you cannot prove intuitively, your wisdom tells you that you have a problem. Yeah. So there's non-cohesion in your thought processes to believe in something that you can't see intuitively. And the reverse can be true. If you can see something intuitively, yeah, and your equations are telling you that that's not possible, yeah, then there's a break. Your wisdom will tell you that if you can intuitively see it and your equations and your intellect is telling you it's not possible, something wrong with your intelligence. And if you start to believe in it, there is a split between your intuition and your intelligence, and that's and obviously there is a split between your those components and your wisdom. Your wisdom just doesn't buy it. Your intuition doesn't buy it. Your intellect buys it. So there's splits. Yeah, where you find a split between intuition, intelligence, and wisdom. That's when you wisely deduce that a way of behaving is correct, and then you can't prove it intuitively, and there's no intellectual basis for it. That's when your intellect says that's just ridiculous. Yeah, if you believe that running around a building 7 times causes it to to float, or hitting your head on the hitting yourself on the head 5 times will cause you to produce gold. Yeah, you try it and you can't do it, and then your intellect tells you, of course, it's not. Quantum physics might tell you it's possible, but not just 5 times. You might need to do it an infinite amount of times. But your wisdom will tell you that it's true, and your intelligence can't prove it, and your intuition can't prove it. So there's a break, and there's no cohesion there. Someone who goes around believing that doesn't have cohesion in the thought processes. You got to make sure there's cohesion. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. Now the other have a judgment tool for deducing right from wrong. A postulation is simple. The postulation is simple for this one. Yeah. We all agree that if there is an extinction outcome, if you stimulate a species and there is an extinction outcome for that species, then that is wrong for that species. Anything that leads to extinction is wrong. if you stimulate a species, if you force a behavior on a species that leads to a non-extinction outcome, then that is, you can't say it's wrong. So it must be right. If you can't say it's wrong, it must be right. Yeah. If I believe that, wisdom, if I can't say it's wrong, it must be right. Intelligence will say that's all. Intelligence will say that's all right, and intuition will tell you what's not wrong. Yeah, it's not necessarily right, but what's not wrong. Yeah, intelligence and intuition will tell you not exactly, but yeah, what's not right should be. Sorry, what's not wrong should be right, and what's not right should be wrong. Yeah. If you deduce it, if you reduce it to just two outcomes, yeah, whatever is not that is that, whatever is not that is that. If you reduce it to two outcomes, yeah, there's something called neither right, neither wrong, but we won't deal with that. We just reduce it to two outcomes. So we've all agreed, I hope we all agree, that any behavior that leads to the extinction of mankind is wrong, and any behavior that leads to the prolonged life of man is right. So you put everything to the test. You get two boxes. You put males of the species and females of the species in there, not just males. You can also add females in there. Yeah. I don't know why I just got males on here. You could add females in there. So add males in there as well. Yeah. I forgot the males. You can't really forget the males, innit? Yeah. So you have females of the species, yeah, and males of the species, yeah, in a box, yeah. Because those are the species we're dealing with if you're mammals, yeah. So you stimulate them. You let's say you force them to behave a certain way, yeah. You run the simulation on rats. I put rats in there, not human beings. Yeah, you force the rats, the mammals, to behave a certain way. If after some time you find that they become extinct, yeah, then you know that that stimulus is wrong. Yeah, you compare it to a box which hasn't been stimulated, which is just running on natural values. I'll give you an example. Yeah. Okay. Water against cigarettes. Now, if you force an addiction to water, there's something called water intoxication. Yeah. And you put 100 rats in box A and you force them to be addicted to water, where they drink way too much water, messes up their salts, and they die. And you leave this one here where you don't force them to drink water. Yeah. So after some time, you start to see, yeah, after a few hours, in fact, with rats, you start to see them drop off dead randomly. Yeah. They'll start to just drop dead. Yeah. Okay. And this is what you see after time. Yeah. Because they're addicted to water, and water messes up your electrolytes. Yeah. And you die from it, from water intoxication. Okay. So eventually, after time, you can play this video back in slow motion. They're addicted to water and they start to die off. Yeah. Okay. And this is how you know that water addiction, yeah, is wrong. Forcing anyone to be addicted to water is wrong. You get that. And at the same time, these will just carry on being normal. Yeah. Okay. Now, cigarette. If you force these rats to be addicted to cigarettes, yeah, would it cause an extinction? Well, let's take it year by year. A black rat lives for a year. So after 1 year, cigarette will take longer than that. Will take, let's say, if you're a human being that was addicted to cigarette from the start, It will take you, let's say 40-50 years to die from it. Yeah. 40-50 years to a rat, that's half of its life. Let's say 6 months. So let's take it in 6 months periods. After 6 months, you see a rat die. Yeah. And in this one, you might see a rat being born. Yeah. And in this one, you might see a rat being born in this one as well. Yeah. Let's say a male one. And after another 6 months, no, we'll take it. Yeah, month by month. After 6 months, you see that 7 months, 8 months, you might see another rat being born. Yeah. And here another rat being born. Yeah. And here, let's say a few more rats will die. Yeah. Yeah. But these are still heading towards what, let's say 8 months. You might see a few of these die. Yeah. A couple of them being born. Yeah. And just a few more dying here. Yeah. And here in this box you see more rats being born. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe a few dying from natural causes. Yeah. After 9 months, yeah, the older ones are really starting to come to the end of their life. Yeah. So but these ones will die earlier. Yeah. But they'll produce the next generation. I don't know which ones were the older ones. They'll produce the next generation before they die. So you might see a couple of them a couple of them being born. Yeah. Yeah. And these ones, maybe 1 or 2 older ones will die. Yeah. And they'll produce shitloads more. Yeah. Yeah. And some of them will be guys, some of them will be girls. Yeah. So you can see that these numbers are being reduced, but they're still there. And these numbers are increasing, and yeah, they're just forever increasing. Okay. Yeah. The number of rats here is increasing by loads. Yeah. Yeah. But the bottom line is, you don't see any extinction, yeah, event here. Yeah. Although they're addicted to cigarette, but it doesn't lead to extinction. So getting people addicted to cigarette is not as bad as getting them addicted to water. So in fact, cigarette is safer for you than water. Yeah. You see how weird this is? Because it would not lead, if you was to force everyone, or you do your if you force the government to introduce measures that get all of us addicted to cigarette, yeah, where they start introducing into schools and so forth, we won't become extinct, so that's all right. But if you force the government to introduce measures where they get us addicted to water, and then they start targeting children, and they start asking teachers to make sure that they show to children that they must be addicted to water, to introduce the idea of water addiction. If they all get addicted to water, yeah, if by some weird random set of play we're going to a universe where all of them took to getting addicted to water, they will have water intoxication and they'll die out quicker. They might even die out before they reach puberty, for them to be able to produce anything. But if they do take the cigarette, they'll die younger, but they'll still be reaching above puberty to be able to produce children. So there won't be as many as that. So if you are interested in population control, get them addicted to cigarette. But anyway, it's about deciding what's right and wrong. If any behavior you want the government to force on our children, to force on ourselves, leads to extinction when you put it into box A, box E, box B. Box B is when you don't have the government forcing us to do it. Box A is when the government is forcing us to do it. And see what happens over time. Use your intuition, yeah, and cohesive thought, to see what will happen over time. And using that, I've been able to deduce that if we ask the government to start putting into the curriculum that every child is to overconsume water, that would lead to a water intoxication, which kills you quicker than the cancers you develop from cigarettes. So if I had a choice, if you say, right, the government has to force the children to do something, either drink too much water or smoke too much cigarettes, I'll choose for you to force them to smoke too much cigarette, because at least they'll reach puberty and they'll be able to produce child, and we won't end up with this. So I hope you now know how to decide what's right from wrong. Put it in these two boxes, box A, box B. Put whatever behavior you want to force on us in box A and leave box B to be nature, natural. If this ends up empty after some time, using your intuition, yeah, then you know that you shouldn't force us to take on that behavior there. It leads to extinction, therefore it's wrong. Anything that leads to extinction is wrong. That's how I know that that behavior there is wrong. If you say you know it's wrong and you're going to do it anyway, good for you, mate. I'm like that. I do a lot of wrong, but I'll never tell you that it's right. I'll never tell you that my wrongs are right. I'll tell you I know they're wrong. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. I don't care. But I'll never tell you that my wrongs are right.